Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and a new edition of our online interview series. We want to talk now for an update with Mawson Gold. And with us is Ivan Fairhall, directly from London here this morning, the CEO of the company. Hey, how are you, my man? All good?
Very good, Jochen. Good morning.
Perfect. Good morning. So let's go directly into it. You guys did in the last 7 days a lot of news releases, and this is why we are talking. And unfortunately, the gold market was not nice to you, so that is a little bit of a shame. But it is what it is. But it shows the quality of your company and what you are doing. So you started like that. You discovered with 8 new prospects with high-grade boulders of up to 546 grams gold per ton over 20 kilometers in Finland. Please explain a bit why those boulders are so impressive and so important, and also how did you came on those 8 prospects?
Sure. Yeah. Well, look, the prospect that we have up in Finland, the Rajapalot project, is a large land area, 18,000 hectares, and we've been focusing a lot of our attention, most of our attention, in fact, in the last few years on drilling out that 1 million ounce inferred equivalent resource that we announced back at the end of the summer. And so what we're doing now is going kind of back to all the data that we've developed over the years in the history of exploring the property and applying that to our prospecting techniques. And through that, we're going back looking at boulders and things like boulders and getting these super high grades and starting to triangulate how much gold there is in this system, because we've obviously got the 1 million ounce resource, and here what we're showing with these boulders is the extent of gold mineralization over that 14 by 15 kilometer area, as opposed to just the 2 by 3 kilometer area where the resource is constrained.
Okay, so that would also help for, let's say, future drill targets and, of course, to enlarge the resource, right?
Absolutely. So these boulders don't move very far. They're based from geological till. And they're transported up to 250 meters. And so having those boulders over such a large area starts to help us understand where the new drill targets are. They're one of the key filtering techniques that we use to identify new targets.
So why do you hold a first mover advantage in that schist belt? And I think you have some really pretty interesting neighbors.
Sure. Yeah. We're one of the first groups to be down in the Parapoya schist belt, and at the time people didn't think there was any gold there, and obviously we've gone on to find that deposit, and I think others have been watching us, and so we've got Rio Tinto, First Quantum, Latitude 66, a lot of groups all around us peg ground because they understand the prospectivity of that region based on the kind of discoveries that we're making.
Super. So it's quite nice to have neighbors like this. We don't know what happens in the future. Then also you got a news release out that you have a base of till drilling and artificial intelligence driving exploration. Can you explain for our viewers what is till drilling, because it's not so common, and how do you use your artificial intelligence? Because to have a software is beautiful, but how do you feed that? With what do you feed it? From where do you get the data, and what is the compilation of that then?
Sure. So base of till drilling is effectively short holes that, most of Finland, 99% of Finland is covered in a thin layer of glacial till. So 5 meters of transport of rubble and whatnot that have come underneath a glacier. And so because there are no outcrops, we found Palokas through an outcrop. So there's a few outcrops, and when we found Palokas, we went on to delineate 1 million ounces. But where there's no outcrops, you need to understand what is just below that thin layer of till. So you do short drill holes to get down to the bedrock and understand what's going on at the bottom of that sort of thin layer of till.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So we've done a huge number, I think nearly 3,000 base of till samples across a few of our prospects as part of our much larger land holding, and there's a lot more to do as we continue to explore the region. But again, like I mentioned with the boulders, finding gold all over the system across the full extent of our deposit, and getting an understanding and being able to demonstrate to investors that there's gold there that is unrelated to the deposits that we have. And it's one of these exploration filters. So we mentioned the boulders. we find gold all over the place. We find till helps you zero in. And then we've of course got geophysics and aeromag and EM and ground EM. They're all exploration techniques, and I think of them as sort of filters, and you lay them on top of each other, and once they're all together, you can start to see where the best targets are, and that's effectively what AI is doing for us. So AI is a much more sophisticated way of laying those filters on top of it, and using supercomputers to identify correlations in the data and start to work out where all of those learning off where we found our deposit. So we calibrate it with the fact that we found 1 million ounces and where we saw all of those filters combine, and looking where else on our project we should be looking in just a supercomputer way, as opposed to using a geologist's brain.
Interesting. So that means probably also that it saves you quite some time and money.
Absolutely. It just lowers our discovery cost by being able to focus our attention on the most prospective areas.
Super. Then I saw also that the AI components of the study were funded by the Horizon 2020 Next project as part of the European Union's initiatives to understand economically important metallogenic belts. Is this funded by the European Union also because you have cobalt there? Because for batteries?
Absolutely. It's all tied up with the cobalt that we have in our project, as we talked about previously. Cobalt's super important to Finland as it is to the EU, and cobalt, Finland looking to become a kind of a battery hub, and we've got the 6th largest cobalt deposit in Europe, and that's continuing to grow. And so the EU, in recognition, and Finland in recognition that that they want to develop these precious cobalt resources that they have in the EU, they are throwing funding our way to understand everything they can about the cobalt, how they can find more, how it's recoverable, how the communities around us think about developing a mine, to extract cobalt, in which they're quite positive, by the way. And so, yeah, the EU funding is really being driven by that cobalt engine.
Super, and it gives you also additional attention, which is always appreciated. Okay, let's move to Australia, to your second set of projects. And you guys started under the Balaclava open pit at Whroo in Victoria in Australia. You started drilling there. So what does it look so far?
Sure, yeah, look, drilling's happening at the moment, so we don't have any results yet, but Whroo is one of our 3 main projects that we have down in Victoria. We've been focusing most of our attention on Sunday Creek and releasing some amazing results out of there, and there's more holes to come. But we've moved the drill rig as part of our earning requirements. We've moved the drill rig up to the Whroo project, which is earning in 70%, and we're starting to put a couple of drill holes into that project to just understand what's going on there, and look to build our geological understanding. Whroo is a historic open pit. Newmont, I think it produced about 25,000 ounces, and Newmont drilled 1 hole historically back in the day of 63 meters at 0.35 grams a ton, including 1.5 meter at 6.1 grams a ton, and that's never been followed up. So we're looking to put some holes through underneath that pit to get a better understanding geologically of what's going on there.
Okay, so then next question, of course, is you want to spin out your ASX Gold focus, your projects in Australia into a new company called Southern Cross Gold. So why do you do that then, when everything looks so prospective and so fantastic? What's the reason behind that, and how do shareholders benefit?
Yeah, look, I think that's the reason. It is a fantastic project, and it's something that we've incubated within Mawson over the last 18 months. We've taken it from just tenements and historic workings and done the hard yards to put the work into it and demonstrate we've got a collection of projects that will have their own capital market story, and we don't think that value is anywhere near being fairly reflected in Mawson, and we think that we can articulate it in a much more clear way by taking it out, attaching a dedicated management team, a local management team, and one whose focus is developing those projects and moving them forward and growing them and building millions of ounces of resources, and having that as a standalone entity will allow it to sort of breathe in the capital market space and be valued fairly against its peers, because there's been, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars flood into Victoria in the last couple of years off the back of the Fosterville Swan Zone rediscovery, this reopening of the Victorian gold fields where there's been 80 million ounces come out. And we want to be valued fairly against our peers, and we think the best way to do that is to spin the company out.
And how do Mawson shareholders benefit of that?
Sure. So once the plan is, I mean, this is subject to regulatory approval, but once the IPO happens, Mawson will own a large proportion of that company, and then we will distribute those shares in specie to Mawson shareholders. So they'll hold two pieces of paper, one piece of paper in the TSX company with the Finnish business in it, and one piece of with the Australian business in the ASX listed company.
And hopefully both stocks will rise.
Exactly. We allow them both. We allow them both to breathe, and the management teams to focus on the things that matter for each of those projects, and really focus attention and strategy and investors and all of those things go combined to create a successful capital market story.
Super. And through the IPO, you will fund, of course, the new company also. So it will start with, I don't know, $5 million, $7 million cash, so that they can start immediately or can pursue immediately their work.
Yeah, sure. That company will be self-funding, and so money that's going into Mawson is focused on the Finnish business.
Super. What are the next steps for you? Let's say as the year is ending almost, but let's say Q1, Q2. What are immediate steps? Where do you see the next immediate catalysts in Mawson?
Oh, the year is ending, but ours it never ends, and so we're very busy at the moment. So up in Finland, we're continuing the work we're doing on the permitting and the ESG to move that project forward. But we're just about, more importantly, we're just about to come to the most exciting time of the year, which is drilling over the winter season, which is where we do most of our actual drilling work through the winter, and that will start in January. And we've got a program planned to really focus off the back of some of these news releases, and we're gonna be devoting more attention this year to demonstrating where the next 1, 2, and 3 million ounces are going to come from to build on the 1 million ounce resource we've got. It's about finding repeats of those occurrences where our resources exist. So that's the focus in Finland in the short to medium term. Down in Australia, the drill rigs continue to turn. We've got those couple of holes in Whroo, and we'll be moving the drill rigs about to our other projects and continuing to build, in particular, the story down at Sunday Creek, where we've had those phenomenal drill results, very high grades, and also good grades over wide intersections. And the plan is that to move that project along fairly aggressively and look to release a resource next year.
Super, perfect. That was a great update. Thank you very much. So lots of news are coming. This is what I got from this here, and yeah, we look forward then to the spin out and everything works, and keep it going, I would say, and hit us hard with good drill results.
We will. Thanks a lot, Jochen.
Super. Thank you very much, Ivan. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Ivan Fairhall, the CEO of Mawson Gold. And you heard it. A spin out is in the air. The Australian assets will be spun out into a new company, Southern Cross Gold. And Mawson shareholders fully benefit as they will get or will receive shares for free in the new company. Of course, then also what I like is that the new company will be then separately capitalized and is self-funding. So Mawson can fully concentrate on their fantastic Finnish projects, and a lot of drill results are also here in the loop, and I really would say check out the company. Thanks for watching us, and bye bye from Switzerland.